BBC Essex.
And it's not long until the eyes of the world are on Westminster Abbey for the coronation of King Charles III and Queen Camilla. There'll, of course, be lots of pomp and pageantry. And in your newspaper today, big overnight rehearsals, pictures of that being released as everything gets closer, and the hope is everything goes to plan. You'll have also read about the oath of allegiance that we're all invited to make to the King as part of the coronation. Let me know if you're going to be doing that. 0800 111 40 41 is the number to call. I've been speaking to someone who's been taking part in the rehearsals, who has a small and important role in the service itself. That is Bishop Guli Francis de Carney, the Bishop of Chelmsford, and she's been telling me about her role in the coronation.
Well, it's a fairly small role in the kind of scheme of things, although I guess it's quite important within the context of a Christian service of worship. So I'm going to be processing in carrying the King's chalice, which, as you know, is used during Holy Communion. And then when it comes to that point in the service, I'll receive the chalice, having received communion myself. I'll then carry it to the King and the Queen. The Archbishop will take it from me and hand it to each of them for them to receive wine as part of the service.
And how are the rehearsals going? I've seen the footage of the horses being woken up in the middle of the night to do all of that stuff. Have you been doing it in the middle of the night, or has it been during the day, or what?
Fortunately, I haven't been involved in any rehearsals during the middle of the night, although it doesn't surprise me to hear that they are going on. It is an extraordinary operation, very, very precise, and many hours have gone into it. So I was at an all-day rehearsal yesterday at the Abbey. Inevitably, huge amounts of hanging around, but that's just par for the course, as it were. And then we're back again there this morning, and then this afternoon a full dress rehearsal before the day itself on Saturday. So long days, quite busy because there's lots of people bustling around, organising us, making sure we know what we're doing, we're in the right place at the right time. And as you can imagine, everything is detailed down to the final T.
And the King's not there, is he? You're doing this all without... He's not... He's not there all day, is he?
He was there yesterday morning,
Oh, okay.
as was the Queen and various other members of the royal family. But he wasn't there in the afternoon. People stood in for him, and he'll. Well, I say certainly. I don't know. He may well be there for the dress rehearsal this afternoon, but I don't know.
Oh, it's interesting that he's fully involved as well in making sure everything goes right. I mean, what's it like being inside this huge operation? You must feel very privileged and honoured when you consider of the history of the day itself.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think from the King's point of view and the royal family, they do, as I understand it, take these kinds of events very, very seriously, and they want to get it absolutely right in terms of the visual elements and all of that. So I'm not surprised to see that they're there. Wanting to be part of the rehearsals at certain points. But it is, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is a huge privilege because the way it's set up is actually quite intimate. It feels quite intimate, even though the building itself is very vast. So you've got the altar right at the east end of the Abbey. And then, I don't know, about 5 feet in front of the altar is the throne, which is facing towards the altar. And that's where the King is given the various items of regalia and is vested and so on, and crowned before he moves to another throne, which is another, I don't know, 8-10 paces behind the original one, again facing east towards the altar. And then I'm sitting in 2 rows of chairs just to the left of the thrones. So it all feels quite intimate with the altar and the thrones and the seating on either side. And it's like a ringside view, really. It's extraordinary.
Fantastic. This is obviously, and you're describing the kind of things that you'll be doing, something a very religious ceremony. Do you think the viewing public across the world will engage with it?
Well, it's really interesting because the bishop in Jerusalem is the only other Anglican bishop taking part in the service, apart from the 10 of us who are part of the Church of England. And he and I are sitting next to each other in the service, and so we spent a lot of time yesterday chatting. And I asked him, I said, "What will your country folk make of this?" And he said, "Oh, they're interested. Everybody is interested. The whole world will be watching." So I thought that was a really interesting perspective. Now that's obviously a slight exaggeration, but I think the point is that many people across the world are very interested in the way the monarchy operates here, the position it holds. I'm sure there will be those who are. Not in favour and won't be watching both in this country and more widely. But I think it is an event that many people across the world will be interested in and will be watching closely also to see what kind of a King Charles III is going to be. I mean, we have a taste of that already, but I think people are very interested to see how things progress, and the service itself is reflecting a lot of the things that are important to him, and as well as as well as kind of honouring the ancient traditions that have been part of the coronation service for centuries, there are also new elements celebrating the character of Britain as it is today, and an opportunity to look forward to the future with hope.
And finally, the oath of allegiance to King Charles has grabbed a few headlines. Is that really necessary?
Well, again, that is a slight tweaking of an ancient ceremony. So, as I understand it, in previous coronations, it would have been peers of the realm who would come and take the oath. But I think this is a really good innovation to say that that actually doesn't quite capture. Where we're at as a society now. And so the opportunity to invite everyone to take the oath of allegiance, I think is a wonderful opening up of what was previously arguably quite an exclusive element of the service. So I think it's a great innovation, but again, there'll be different views on this.
Yeah, the key word being, inviting people rather than, anything else in terms of,
Of course.
you must do, or you should do this, etc.
Oh, of course, absolutely. It has to be an invitation, and it is exactly that.
That is Bishop Guli Francis Takani, the Bishop of Chelmsford, going through her role at the coronation.